Everyone, how's it going? Today is an exciting day. I finally received back my March vintage PSA submission. I sent in 65 cards back on the 17th of March, which I believe was St. Patty's Day. Today is June 25th when I finally received them back. So it's been a little over 3 months that I've been waiting for these cards. So I'm super excited to break these out and have a look at them. I should be working right now, but I didn't want to wait till the end of the day to look at these, so I'm making a quick video as I open them so you guys can all look at them with me. I will say that this is not a complete blind reveal. There is one card that I did take a look at. I did look at the the reason I looked at a card was because when I was debited for the purchase of these grades, I noticed that it came in substantially less than the estimated amount that was in my original paperwork, meaning some cards presumably did not get graded. And I was worried about one card in particular. And so what I did was I went online where it said grades ready, and I covered the part of the screen that shows the grades with my hand and scrolled down to the card that I was most concerned about and just looked at that card and saw that it was graded, and I was happy to see that it was graded, and I stopped there. I didn't look at any of the grades of the other cards. So this is pretty much a blind reveal except for that card, and I'll point out that card when I get to it because I do know that one for sure did get graded. I'm still curious to see what did not get graded, but we'll have a look and you guys can see them with me. So let's start into this. I'm going to move a couple of these boxes over. I did cut the tape on these beforehand, and I did just open these to see kind of which ones had the throwbacks with the dreaded green stickers. And so that was this box. So I decided that was the box I would start with. I think that's the bottom. Yeah, I didn't want to show the grades, so get rid of that box, and then we'll start here, and we'll get the bad news out of the way first. And so we've got card inside. You know, everyone hates these green stickers, but let's see what's going on here and what got sent back. So it looks like quite a few. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 got sent back. And we've got a Gilbert Peralt for men's size. We've got Phil Esposito, 1969, tops that was sent back, and it says, do not hold her. And this one, actually, I think I know exactly why I didn't, because this was kind of an experiment. These 1969 tops hockey cards had these stamps that you could stick on the back of the cards, and a lot of these people stuck the stamps on. In some cases, it depends on the collector. They can be more valuable with the correct stamps affixed to the card than without. I was talking with a hockey card seller that's often at the card shows here in Denver, and he has a bunch of these as well. We were wondering if we could send these in, so I decided as an experiment I would try and see if we could send one in with a stamp to see if they would actually grade it. And it looks like they sent it back, and I think that's exactly why. So let me know if you guys have ever seen one of these graded by PSA with the stamp attached. I tried to look online, but it's really hard to find it on eBay without looking through every single listing. So that one got sent back. 1971 tops goalies got sent back for men's size. Jean Bellevue, 1966 tops, recolored. I wonder what recolored. That card didn't look recolored. I'll have to look closer at that one and see if somebody added some color to it. I can't pick these up. Johnny Buchek, 1969 tops. Now this one did not have the stamp on it, but it got sent back for mini size. 1963 tops star receivers, do not hold her men's size. Steve Garvey, 1975 tops altered. I wonder if it was cut or something. And then Gilbert Peralt, men's size. So got those. That's the ones that got sent back. I'm not too happy about those, but also those aren't, the big ones that I was that excited about. So let's start into the actual cards, and we'll have a look at kind of how these things came out. First off is a 1961 Topps Alkaline. This one does have some centering issues, left, right. It's kind of way over to the far left. I had initially, but otherwise it's in good condition. It's got, decent corners. Just a nice looking card. Not a lot of surface issues or anything. I had it as a 5 was my guess on this. It's going to lose 2 for the off centering. I thought it, came in as a 7 other than the centering. We'll have a look and see how it looks. And it came back as a 3. Wow. Okay. So that's a pretty tough grade on that card, especially because it's definitely a really sharp looking card. Okay. So that's the first one. Hopefully the rest are not as graded as tough, but maybe we'll find out. Next is 1969 Topps John Bellevue from that same set. This one did get graded, unlike those others. This one I had pre-graded as a I guessed a 4 on this one. Again, this one's got left-right centering issues. It does have some soft corners, but it kind of looked like a 4 to me. So we'll see how that one did. That one got a 4. Okay. So it's right on that one. Next is it looks like a 1968 Tim Horton. This card did have like a spot, like look right next to his head. There's like a dark spot. I wasn't sure if they were going to see that or make an issue out of it, but there is that. Other than that, it's a pretty nice looking card. Decent corners, decent centering. The centering on these 68s is really, really tough. I had guessed on this one a 5. We'll see if we got that lucky. And I got a 4 on that one. Let's see here. Boston Bruins, Johnny Buchik, 1968 as well. This one I had guessed on it as a 4. This one has, I think, some softer corners. Good presentation, though. Still a nice looking card. No creases, nothing. No surface issues or anything, but I thought it looked like a 4. And it got a 5. Okay, so the Tim Horton was below my guess, and the Buchik was above it. Here's Jerry Cheevers, one of my favorite goalies from that era. This one is O-Pee-Chee, I believe, and I had guessed a 6 on this one. It just looked really nice. It does have left, right. I think it's a little bit further oriented toward or pushed to the left a little bit. But the corners and everything else on this card looks really nice. There's a soft corner up there, but this one, we'll see how I did on that. As I said, I guessed a 6 on that. Maybe that was a little too generous. We'll see. And it gets a 4. Here's another 1969. This time we got Norm Ullman when he was playing for Toronto. This one was I guessed as a 5 on this one. Decent corners, decent centering. Not a bad example of that card. Back looks nice as well, although the back is a little bit up-down centering issues. So I guessed a 5 on that. We'll see how it turned out. And that one gets a 4. So this grader is a little bit tougher, I think, so far than my previous vintage grader. We'll keep looking. Here's Stan Mikita from 1970. This one I guessed a 6 on. And looking at it now, I think the corners and going by this grader, I'm guessing it would probably get a 4 if I'm lucky, but maybe he went with a 3, but I think it's probably a 4. And it got a 6. Okay, so this grader's all over the place. And so I have no clue what I'm going to get on any of these. So I guess I'm not as accurate as I was on my first one. Here's one of 2 1979 Topps Gordie Howes. This was the final year that Gordie Howe had a card. I had a couple of these. I can't remember which one is which, or I won't know which one's which because they're all mixed up anyway. But I had guessed this one. I guess one is a 6 and one is a 9. So I'm not sure if this was the 6 or a 9. This one definitely looks centered better, so I'm guessing this is probably the one I was guessing a 9. It just looks pretty perfect to me, but who knows? I could be wrong. Here's the one I guessed is a 9, and it gets an 8. Let's see what we got here. Next is Bobby Orr. Now this is a childhood card that I've had since I was a kid. I sent in a few of my ones that I had, that I retrieved from my parents' house last year. I just kind of wanted to hold her some of my childhood cards. This one I guessed as a 5. It's got the corner up there does not look the greatest. I'm guessing it's probably a 4 or a 3. Again, who knows, but it's got a 3. But anyway, it's one of my childhood cards. It's not going to be sold anyway. I just wanted it holdered. There's another one in there that's at least one other childhood card in here. Here we go with a Lanny McDonald rookie card. This is one of my favorite players of that era. This is before he grew his infamous mustache. I guessed a 7 on this one. It had good centering. This one's really hard to get centered well, but it just looked really nice. We'll see what we get, and it gets a 6. Okay, that's a little bit of a letdown. I was hoping it would get a little bit higher. So far these grades are not the greatest. Actually, I should start making stacks so that I know kind of like how things are. Do this really quickly. 6, 6, 4, 4, 5, 4. Okay, sorry about that. Just getting a little bit organized. 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. We'll keep going. And next up, we've got a Bobby Orr. Now this one is really a OC. I don't expect much from this card. I was guessing it's probably around a 3, given the off-centeredness, that's not a word, but anyway. I'm guessing it's not very good because of the left-right centering on it. We'll see if it gets a 3. Hopefully it doesn't have an OC designation. Got a 4. That's great for that card. No complaints there. Seems like all the hockey ones are in this box. So a lot more baseball, I think, than hockey. But here's the other Gordie Howe from 1979. This one's the one that has more off-centered. It's not quite centered as well. On that one, I had guessed a 6. Other than that, the corners look sharp. It's still a nice-looking card, but I think it was just because of the OC issues I put it down. And it gets a 7. So he's a lot nicer to the newer Gordie Howes. And Rod Gilbert. This one I had guessed, estimated was a 9. This is 1972 Topps. I had previously sent in a Guy Lafleur from the same set, and it got killed, and I thought it was a 9 or it looked perfect. This one I thought looked really good as well. We'll see how it got graded. It gets a 9. Okay, there we got our first 9, which on vintage 9s are amazing. So we'll make a pile for the 9s. And we got a 1968 Gordie Howe coming up here. This card did have a little bit of a crease, so I'm guessing this is like a 2. But in an off-centered, everything about it is not the greatest, but it's still a beautiful card nonetheless. And I thought it deserved to be in a slab. We'll see how it does. I think, what did I guess on this one? I thought it would get I guess 3. I think that was wishful thinking. I'm going to guess a 2 given this grader. We'll see what we get. And it gets a 2. Yeah, I think that's kind of predictable with the way that the grades have been going on this so far. Here's another 1978 Topps card from a 1978 Topps set that I purchased from the Goodwill. I graded a few cards out of this set so far, but and I really didn't pay much for the set, but here's the Pete Rose out of it. Left, right, it looks like it's got some centering issues. I had guessed initially on it an 8, but I think with this grader it's probably not going to get an 8. I'm guessing probably 6 or 7, and it gets a 5. Okay, so add that to the 5 pile. So I think this was a much tougher grader than I've gotten on a lot of other submissions. This is Reggie Jackson from that same 1978 set. On this one I had guessed an 8. Just a nice looking card. Looking at it now, it looks like it does have some left-right centering issues, but let's have a look. And it gets a 6. Okay. And more from that 78 set. This time we've got the Nolan Ryan Phil Necro Strikeout Leaders. This one I had guessed on it a 8. It looked decent. I'm guessing it's probably going to be a lot less given how these grades have been going so far, and it gets a 6. Yep. So I'm not the happiest so far with the grades. I have to say, I think this grader was a little tougher than most. Here's one that I'm really hoping did well, but I don't know. I was guessing a 4 on this. This is a Rocket Richard from 1960 Parkhurst. It's just a nice card. It was my first card of Maurice Richard in my collection. I wanted to get it graded. We'll see how he does. He gets a 3. Okay. Let's go to a second box. So this one is, I think that's the bottom. Okay, there we go. Hopefully we do better with this box and they start to improve a little bit. And we are going to a 1963 Topps Frank Robinson. What did I guess on him? Not 1963, 1964, or 5. 65, I guessed a 5 on this one. I thought it looked decent and had a good chance, but I'm looking at that top corner. Does not look that great. And given this grader, I'm guessing it's probably like a 2. And it gets a 3.5. Okay. Half grade. Let's see what we got next. Here's my 1966 Sandy Koufax, which this one has left-right issues, but is a pretty nice card. It does have some soft corners. Good presentation, though. I guessed on it a 5. We'll have a look and see how he does. And he gets a 3. So this grader just killed me on a lot of these grades. And this one, okay, here's the one I did look at, and this one I think makes up for the entire submission. This one is a 1962 Roberto Clemente, as you can see, and I bought it off eBay. It's under 200 with shipping and taxes included. It just looked absolutely perfect. Looked like a flawless card to me. And I was really afraid that it looked too perfect because I thought it was like either a 9 or a 10, even with a 1962. Or I was afraid they were going to say that it was fake or something. I mean, even a lot of these have fading issues. They've got centering issues. It's just hard it's a tough set in general. But this one came out of an eBay seller who was liquidating an estate. They didn't normally sell sports cards. I was looking at their other listings and whatnot, and it seemed like this was a legitimate estate of someone who'd passed away, who'd been collecting cards forever, that have sat in a collection and untouched forever. But it just looked really good, and I sent it in, and the grade on this I did see already, so I'm pretty happy about this one, which it ended up being a PSA 8, which is just an absolutely beautiful, sorry there's a lot of glare, but an absolutely beautiful example of that card. If I were to sell it, I would 10x my money on it, and I think that one easily kind of makes up for the rest of the submission. But I was looking at recent comps, and the two that I saw sold on eBay, one was like 2,188 and the other was 2,800 or something, and I think this one looks a lot nicer. One of those, the centering was way off. This one, the centering is perfect. Color, everything about it is just a perfect, absolutely flawless card. So I wonder if I had a different grader, if I would have gotten even higher than an 8 on this. Might have, who knows, but it's definitely a beautiful card. So we'll add that to the stack, and we'll keep going. Next card is a 1961 Topps Rocky Calavito. This one I guessed as a PSA 6. Decent centering, decent corners. It was just a nice card. And he gets a 5. Yeah, so I'm not too happy with this grading thing, other than the Clemente is cool. But Tiger Twirlers 1963 Topps. That one I guessed a 7. I'm wondering if I should even mention my guess grades, because I think that they're all falling a couple grades short, so I should just make them a few down. So I'm guessing a 5 on this. The one bottom left corner is a little bit off, but the rest of it looks pretty nice, and it gets a 5. So if I recalibrate all my grades a couple down, then maybe I'll be more on top of them. Here's a Veda Pinson from 1963. I had guessed a 7, so we're going to downgrade this to a 5. Sharp corners, good centering, just a nice card, and it gets a 6. So we'll continue to lower our expectations on every one of these. This is 1964 Topps All-Star Vets, Nellie Fox and Harmon Killebrew. I guessed a 7, so we downgrade that to a 5 for this grader. It's got decent centering, good corners, and good for a 64. 64 is an easier set than some of the others because it was white bordered, and it's easier to get decent grades on it. So I'm guessing a 5, and it gets a 5. Let's see if we can keep going with our accuracy now. Here's a Mickey Lolich rookie. Nice card. This one, I think did I have 2 of these or 1? Okay, I only sent in 1, and I guessed an 8, so we're going to downgrade it to a 6 for this grader. Good corners, really nice. I bought this from a seller that was kind of getting out of the hobby and trying to retire, and I bought a number of cards off him, and his cards were just in really beautiful condition back in February. So we'll see if we get a 6 on this one, and it gets a 6. So I guess I am more accurate now that I'm downgrading them by 2. Harmon Killebrew, 1964 Topps. I guessed a 6, so we'll downgrade this one to a 4. The soft corners kind of lend itself to that, but we'll have a look. And he gets a 3. And next we get, this is one of 2 Willie Horton rookies from 1964 Topps. One of these was nicer than the other. I guessed a 7 on one and a 6 on the other. I'm not sure which is which because they're kind of close. So we'll guess, 5 on one and a 4 on the other. Or a 5 on one and a 4 on the other, yeah. So this one will probably either be a 5 or a 4, given this grader. And it gets a 6. So that one's kind of nice. And this must be the other one. And this one, I think, is the worst of the 2, so we're guessing a 4 on this one. And I mean, it's got left right is a little bit off. That corners they're okay, but we'll see. That one gets a 6 as well. So we got 2 6s on those. This one's way OC, but it's got Mickey Mantle on it. So I sent it in, but you can tell on that border. I'm guessing it's probably going to get an OC designation for this 1962 Topps. So I guessed 3 OC on it. So I'm going to guess 1 OC on it because we have to go 2 grades down for this grader. And it gets a 3 miscut. I don't know what the difference is between miscut and OC. But it seems like it's kind of 2 designations for the same abnormality, but who knows? So anyway, there's that. So we've got a 3 miscut. And then we've got, next up is a 1960 Warren Spahn. This one I had guessed a 4 on, so we're going to downgrade it to a 2. It's a nice card. It's got its little OC to the left-right. Corners not perfectly sharp, but not rounded. Still looks good. And we're going to guess, like I said, I guessed a 4, so we're going to go with a 2. And it gets a 3. Here's a 1964, or 62 Topps, Hank Aaron. This one I had guessed a 4 on, so we're going to go with a 2 on this one. It definitely had some white on the corners, which is very common with 62 Topps. So I'm guessing it's got a 2 and it got a 3. Okay. So we've got our next card is Willie Mays, who just passed away last week, unfortunately. This is one of my only Willie Mays cards. I've got a 72 as well, but this is my only 60s one I think of him. It's an all-star. It definitely has some white on the corners, but centering's decent. It's not that bad. I guessed a PSA 5, so we downgrade that to a 3, and we'll see what he gets. And he gets a 3. I do not like this grader, but let's see. Next up, we got the Frank Robinson. This one, All-Star, I guessed a 5 on it, 1962, another one of those. Looks decent. There's some whiteness on the corner down there. Trying to get it in focus. The other corners are not as bad, but typical 62. Like I said, I guessed a 5, so we're going to go with a 3 on this, and it gets a 3. So I'm a lot more accurate when I drop them all down 2 grades from my estimates. There's a 1966 Topps Gordie Howe. This one I do have a copy of this card already, I believe in a 4.5. I was hoping to get a better grade with this one, but now I'm not expecting anything great with this submission. I guessed an 8 on this, so I don't know. I'm guessing that it's probably will knock it down 2, so maybe it's a 6. It does have left-right centering issues, but the corners are really nice on it, and it gets a 3. Wow. Tough grader, even for vintage. I mean, I know you're not going to get perfect ones. Now, this one I just wanted to get into a slab. This one I expect to have like a 1 on. This is a beat-up, well-loved Hank Aaron from 1966. I'm guessing it's you can't go below a 1, so I'm guessing it's authentic, hopefully. I don't know what else, if you could go 2 grades lower than a 1, but I'm guessing it would probably be that. And it gets a 1, so at least got a 1. And then I've since gotten a better Mini Minoso than my example. This one has some left-right centering issues, but otherwise it's a nice card. And it got I guessed a 4 on this, so we're going to go with a 2, or a 2 MC. Gets a 4. Wow, okay. That one did a little bit better than I was expecting. Here's a Steve Carlton, and this one's actually an O-Pee-Chee, which I don't have too many. This is my first 1975 in an O-Pee-Chee. I don't seem to come across them too often. This one I thought looked really nice, and I guessed a 7, so we're going to go with a 5 on this. And it gets a 7. So let's do the next box really quickly. This is already quite a long video. So this is the bottom. And oops, sorry about that noise. And we'll keep going. This one is a Pete Rose from 1969. This one I guessed on it a 6, so we're going to drop it to a 4. It's just a average 69 tops. Corners aren't perfect. Centering's a little left-right issue, but we're going to guess a 4. It gets a 5. Next up is a 1971 Topps Thurman Munson. This is one of 2. I have one that's in much worse condition than the other, and I'm not sure which is which. One I was guessing a 5, and one I was guessing a 3. So my hopes are not high on these. With 1971 Topps, as far as collecting and what I look for in these, just because this is such a tough set, I will purchase from my own collection 3s because I think they look as good as 6s in other sets, and I'm guessing that this one's probably like a 2 or a 1, given this grader. But this one does have up, down, and left, right centering issues, but otherwise it looks pretty good. And it gets a 2. Like I said, I'm not expecting much from this grader. Here's a 1967 Topps Bill Freehand. I'm trying to do a Tigers team set from 1967, so over the course of my submissions, you'll probably see some random 1967 Tigers. This one I guessed as a 6, and looking at it, and I think it was just primarily because of the left-right centering issues, and I guess the corners on this don't look quite as good. So I guessed a 6, so I'll drop it down to a 4 and maybe a 3 just because of this grader. We'll see how it did. It got a 6. Okay. Here's the other Thurman Munson. This one does have better centering. Just looks like a really nice example of this card. I was hoping to get a good grade on a Thurman Munson, but I'm guessing that this one will probably get a 2 or a 1 given this grader, and it gets a 4. So, it's decent, but I probably was expecting it to get a 5, so it's not too far off. Here's another 1971 Topps. This is a Hank Aaron. This one I was expecting to get a 5 on, so we'll drop it 2 grades down to a 3. It does have left-right centering issues, but otherwise does look good. Corners, it doesn't have a lot of chipping. Corners aren't too bad. It is a nice example, but let's see what we got. So we're guessing a 3 or 2 or a 3. And it gets a 4. Okay. That one really is jiggly wiggly. It's not bumps around in the case. And here we go. And I just like this one because it's got Roberto Clemente and Pete Rose on the same card, 1970 Topps batting leaders. And I guessed a 5 on that, so we drop it down 2 grades to a 3. Corners are not perfect, but they're not fuzzy round. Centering's okay. So we're guessing we got a 3 on this, and it has a 3. So our pile of 3s is getting pretty big. Here's another childhood card. I had this one in a screw case, so I was kind of expecting this one to be one of the ones that got sent back if some got sent back, just because it was sitting in my childhood bedroom for like 35 years or something, for quite a long time, in a screw case since the late 80s. And I remember having this card as a kid and just looking at it and admiring it and thinking it was really awesome. It does have some creases, So I'm guessing it's probably a 1. The creases aren't too bad. They're kind of like along the corners, but they're really probably hard to see in the case. But not the most perfect card, but it does have sentimental value. So I'm not selling it anyway, but I'm guessing it probably got a 1. And I wouldn't be upset if it had anything higher or lower, than a 1. Not that it could get, but it's got a 2. So we're down to a 2 on that one. Here is a Gary Carter 1976 Topps. This one looked perfect to me. I don't know, near perfect. I guessed a 9 on it. So we drop it down 2 grades to a 7, and we'll see if we get the 7 on it. And it gets an 8. Next we have, this is a Chet Lemon rookie. Chet Lemon was always one of my favorite Tigers as a kid. I know this isn't really an expensive card, but it looked pretty good. It did have some left-right centering issues, and I had guessed on that a PSA 7, so we drop it down 2 grades to a 5, and we'll see how it did. And it got an 8. So it actually did better than my actual real estimation on that one. Maybe because it's not very valuable. 1975 Topps Nolan Ryan highlights. It's got some left-right centering issues. Corners aren't perfect, but trying to get it in focus. So when I'm jiggling these around, it's because I'm trying to get them better in focus. What did I guess on that one? I had it as, this is card number 500. No, it's card number 5. I guess it as a 6, so we drop it down 2 to a 4. We'll see if we got a 4, plus it's Nolan Ryan, so I'm guessing this grader will be really tough on it because it's a decent player. And I get a 4.5, so. 1973 Topps Pete Rose. I guessed a 5 on this one. And so it's got some left-right centering issues. I guessed a 5, so we're going to go with a 3, and it has a 5. LK Line 1975 Topps. This one, I guessed a 6 at, and it looked decent. I'm doing an alkaline run, even though I don't think this is technically considered one of the ones in the PSA list. I still wanted it slabbed. Left-right issues, it gets a 5. And then here's a Robin Yount rookie. This one is not in the best condition. It's another one that I just wanted to get slabbed. I'm guessing it's either a 2 or a 1. The corners are not perfect. Centering isn't perfect. It gets a 2. Let's see. Yeah, that's right. 1969 Topps Curt Flood. I think this is a player that deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I was guessing a 7 on that. It's left-right issues, but otherwise is a sharp card. He gets a 6. Now here's another one of the big ones that I'm now really afraid of. This is the Ken Dryden rookie card. What did I guess on this one? 1971 Topps Ken Dryden 3. I guessed a 3 on it. The corners are a little off, but are a little bit, they're not perfect. Centering's decent. I get a 3. So I got what I was guessing on that one, which is fine. Definitely a more pricier card that should be in every hockey collection. 1979 Topps Nolan Ryan. I was guessing a 7 on this, so we're going to bump it down 2 grades to a 5. The left rate looks a little off, but we'll see how it gets a 5. Okay. And then just a couple more here. It's a basketball one. Jerry Lucas. I was guessing a 7 on this one. When I look at it, definitely has some left-right issues. But all in all, it's a decent card. Bump it down 2 to a 5, and it gets an 8. Okay. 1975 Topps Reggie Jackson, left-right issues. It's hard to get 75 centered perfectly, but this one just looked like a really nice card. I guessed a 6 on it, so we bump it down 2 to a 4, and it gets a 6. Last one, or I've got 2 more. Louis Tiant, 1975. This one I guessed a 7, so we bump it down to a 5, and it gets an 8. And here's, last but not least, 1975 Topps Nolan Ryan. This is card number 500, which I guessed was a 7. Knowing how this grader's been doing, we're going to bump it down 2, like we've been doing with the rest of them. And so we'll put it at a 5, and we get a 4. So even worse. So that's it for the submission. I'm not really that happy with the way things turned out with this particular grader. I think he was a little bit tough on a lot of cards in this compared to my previous submissions. But that's the way it goes sometimes. So I'll look through them, see which ones I want to keep, sell some. The Roberto Clemente kind of makes it worth it, but now I kind of wonder if I had a different grader, would it have gotten a 9, given the fact that it looked like a flawless card. Who knows? I know they probably won't give 10s out on 62 Topses, but that came about as close to one as I've ever seen. So anyway, hope you guys are having a good day, and hope you enjoyed that reveal with me, and I will see you on the next one. I do have one coming back at some point that's in the grading stage right now, so looking forward to that, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care.